Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, a best-of-3 between two of the most different players I think you could find playing the same race, a Zerg versus Zerg. But when these two clash, and their two styles of fire and ice, essentially, things have a tendency to get dramatic, or end quickly. Well, that's also dramatic. Anyways, let me introduce one of the most dramatic players. It is Dark, the final boss. The better you are, the better he gets. He just seems to be able to confound, confuse, and conquer. The best of the best. Another player who may have been considered that at one time, but still scraping his way back with a very swarm-heavy style. A little bit less efficient and more of a quantity over quality. We have DongRaeGu. He loves Zerglings, Lisks, and Lings. Maybe Mutas as well. In fact, part of the reason I was recommended this series was because of his Muta play. Now, for those who don't know, back in Heart of the Swarm, Mutaling versus Mutaling was kind of the way to go. With glaives bouncing everywhere, you put Zerglings underneath the Mutas and try to absorb some of the... There was a weird amount of math involved. In Legacy of the Void, though, you simply can't get to that lair tech quick enough to really balance out the fact your opponent can have such a good economy. That's why Mutas... Jimmy, oh my god, how many times? I need to see the health bars. We're not going to just click on everything. You don't need to block it. Either way, mirror matchup to start. Baneling Nest. On either side, it looks like Dark's going to put his as part of a wall. This is becoming the standard. Queens. Queens are just a bastion of stability. Alright, they hold things down. They inspire production. The creep spread allows you to play more defensive, and the queens themselves are what bring some stability to the early game. Like, you get 3-4 queens at some point, even if you don't have a wall off. Zerglings and Banelings are going to get less and less effective. Now, the first round of Lings is built by Dark, who has pushed the OV back far enough. Just sneaking around, but DRG on top of it. He has his Overlords in position to spot. Zerg versus Zerg is a bit of a knife fight in a phone booth. You know where the other person is almost all the time because of those Overlords, but you don't know exactly, well, where they're going to stab next. Zerglings are so fast, especially since they work. Creep doesn't discriminate. Zerglings and Banelings move faster on that creep. The dance in the center. A few Zerglings slipped into the main. A few Banelings from Dark. +1 melee on the way for DRG. Already investing in those Lings, has Banelings of his own. The oldest play in the entire book here. 2 Banelings in the corner. Are you kidding me? This better not work. This is just what Dark does, though. Will he distract while this is happening? Yeah, Baneling into the natural. DRG. Does he notice? He does. 4. That is 4 more drones that needed to die to this. And behind it, Dark. We weren't even paying attention. Dark is up to 40 drones. DRG has quite an obligation to get some sort of damage done, at least keep the pressure on. He's going to have +1 melee, but Dark slams in from the side. +1 melee does not mean you survive a Baneling hit. Yes, you'll do more damage, your Banelings. Well, Banelings kill Zerglings in one shot, and it takes 2 for another Bane. More dancing. 8 drones died now. All the drones at the third were isolated onto 10. It looks like a few in the natural went down as well. So, 10 Bane. This is getting messy already. Banelings, they just kind of waddle in here. Inevitable and flamboyant death. Those beautiful pustules of acid just waiting to explode. It's their life's purpose. Okay. Well, on the bright side, whenever a Baneling attacks it, it gets at least 1 kill. So, think about it. Aww. Zerglings into the natural. Now, DRG is going to be able to trade better with the Lings in just a moment. +1 melee done. Lair on the way. Dark is recovering. This is essentially the best defense is a good offense. Any amount of time you can get to build drones. Dark. No, he right-clicks on the hatch. He's going for the third, though. Well, wait, okay. What a thing! So Dark, he's bungling this. It looked like he ground out a solid lead, both in the first and second attack waves. But instead of getting more drone kills or killing a hatch, he'll do neither. And now DRG has the upgraded Zerglings. I don't think Dark is going to invest heavily in too many more Banelings now that many queens are out. He's going for it. He's going for the hatch. Dark realizes it's not going to happen. There's a Spire on the way for DRG. Sticking to the listenlings. He's using the +1 melee to rip through the queens, but the Banes are about to pop. They do. The Zerglings don't do nearly enough. The queens are still able to hold the line. Looks like a few Banelings tried to get in. Did they spot any of the gases? He already saw the lair timing. Whoop! Oh, what a mess! Oh my god. ZVZ. Can we... Jimmy, do we have a moment? The matchup guide. Well, no, we don't have a moment. More Banelings. As while they can both... if you look at the vision, they both see where almost all the opponent's units are. Especially when the attacks are coming in. But it's all just down to speed and execution. Both these players, Dark at 400 to 540 APM. Oh my god. And I was about to say, but efficiency makes up for it. No, that 100 extra APM seems to be paying off for DRG. He's able to keep all this alive. He's got mutas on the way. Dark just started his lair. Are you insane? This, like, DRG has mutas. Like, even if the roaches are trying to come across the map, they do, even Zerglings get into the main, they spot the Spire. A few drones will go down. This is almost checkmate. At least they're, oh my god, more Banelings. It doesn't stop. Alright. The madness will continue. DRG 55 drones. Dark's at only 49. Okay, I will comment that Dark is the best defensive player. Probably in Star... Oh my god. Well, that extra 120 APM. You see, Dark, the genius he is, strategically put 5 random Overlords off to the side where they could be killed by mutas, because we all know mutas cannot help such a obvious and low-hanging, well, I guess high-hanging target. So, those Overlord chew toys have successfully kept the flying rats off his back for long enough to finish some spores. No, that was just a mistake. That was definitely a mistake. There's no reason, especially if he suspected, let alone when Spire, or after he saw the Spire, he should have had those Overlords out there. So that's just going to be more ground for Dark to make up on every sort of papyrus here. DRG in the lead. But wait, Dark comes in, the hatchery has been bruised this whole time, gets one more hit, keeps a couple Banes, and the lack of third. It's very important. This is a very larva-heavy strategy. Zerglings and mutas really do need that larva, because usually you're pretty good on the queens as well. Infestation pit immediately. We're gonna see the straight-up split here. Infestor queen. Just the fact that Dark is still alive is impressive. Like, DRG's like, wait, no, you don't have any. Like, what do you have, 5 queens? Come back here. Trying to bait out some transfuses. Will he get him on the Yeah, Dark doesn't even bother saving the infestation pit. Banelings, oh my god, this just keeps happening. They're killing each other's hatcheries with the... Oh my god, watch out, watch out! What am I watching? It's an... Oh, that could have been so much worse. I mean, it was the mutas in the main that were taking everyone's attention here. 7 drones down. Wow, that could have been way worse. DRG microing those mutas. He's lost 7 of them. But he did kill the infestation pit outright. There are infestors on the way. Dark understands. We saw this against Serral not too long ago. Just let him wear himself out. And especially Reynor, I believe it was as well. Reynor, also a very aggressive Zerg player. And Protoss, both. But in this case, Zerg. But Dark just kind of lets you whittle yourself down. Of course, for every game Dark is able to pull back, there's one he kind of just loses because he's too far behind economically. Yeah, DRG, while he lost the base, he has total map control. The map is his. He's cleared out the Overlords. More Banelings rolling in, another wave. This upgraded wave. Okay. Only 5-6 rounds, but... Oh my god, Zerglings, Fungals, trying to save the day. The Infestors... Oh no, they all died as Zerglings, which is not something you see every day. The Infestors surrounded in their own home by the Zerglings. The muta count is getting too damn high. The Roaches are headed across the map. A desperation counterattack. The mutas actually realize, okay, maybe we should respect this a bit. As Roaches could do a lot of damage since he just lost all his Zerglings. DRG doesn't really have much to slow down these Roaches. The mutas do have to fly home. The Zerglings right-clicked onto the hatch. Okay. Well, Dark playing real hard. He's actually in a supply lead, but that is a bit misleading because much of that supply is in Roaches and, well, Queens, things that can't be realistically aggressive right now against these mutas. And as the Roaches get cleaned up, the supply swings heavily back in favor of DRG, especially considering the unit compositions. Burrow move Roaches. He's gonna try to slither his way out of this one. Like, I keep feeling, I don't know exactly how this goes down, but I'm just expecting Dark to take forever to die, but DRG has every advantage right now. The only thing Dark has going for him is at 200 supply, his army can win. Because Infestors, with Pathogen Glands, and with Queen support, or maybe even Spores, let alone if he goes up to Hive for Vipers, it's likely, if he can force that full-on engagement, that the splash damage spellcasters come out on top. Because there's no Hydras here to trade with the mutas, he's focused entirely on that maxed out army. Mutas flocking around, trying out new formations, none of them helping against the fact that Spore Crawlers have a huge bonus to biological air. Might be like, isn't that specific? How many races have biological air? Well, you're looking at it. It's a technical term. It's like saying, when there are 3 dudes in a room, and their names are Matt, Tim, and Dave. Okay, it's like, that's like saying, does extra damage to people who aren't Matt and Dave. Like, could we just put a Zerg tag? I don't know, but speaking of Zerg tag, good luck catching these mutas. DRG into the natural. He's gonna find the Infestors, the most valuable. Oh, Dark slips underneath, but the muta's already doing so much damage. Burrow move Roaches are actually spotted here. Is there even enough energy? The beautiful fungal microbial shroud. Oh my! What is happening? What a weird fight. Okay. Dark is just... Oh, he slipped a few Roaches across, but unfortunately he had to reveal the Burrow move before he could get too many Roaches onto the other side. Dark is, once again, not dead. And he has, like, he has all the units to win the game. It's just... It's at least an even combination of DRG messing it up. DRG has a huge advantage, but oh no. And well, there goes some of it. Yeah. Well, that's like he doesn't have enough economy to just rebuild. He's lost 33 mutas. Oh my god. But the Banelings are rolling in. Dark trying to hold the line. There's like 1 or 2 more Fungals here. Roach is obviously not the ideal Baneling target. More Banelings dying to Roaches. DRG is like, no, I do not make a hive. Hives are for losers, okay? I have been making mutas. Okay, I need to chill out, but mutas and Zerglings, and occasionally Hydralisks, but mostly mutas and Zerglings since 2010. I'm not gonna stop now. Alright. Fungal isn't even as good as it used to be, Dark. Whatever. It used to stun. And you could just chain fungal the mutas entirely to death. Now you gotta put a little bit more effort in. I like how Dark added like 3 Hydras in. He's like, my work's done. Alright, I did it. 5 Hydras, that's the number. Well, essentially enough that he doesn't literally only have fungal for anti-air. Is what I think he's trying to avoid. Like, he needs just enough damage to clean up some of those bruised mutas. DRG has 32 mutas. There are 11 infestors. Like, Dark is trying to max out, but DRG lings, oh my god. The boss wave. We've had like 10 waves of banelings, well 9 waves. The 10th wave is a boss wave. DRG, he's spreading his mutas, magic boxing him there with probably the stop command a lot of players use in order to keep those mutas spread instead of flocking together, keep some personal space. Oh my god. Just give us the 70 more banelings, DRG. The thing is, the DRG doesn't have such a huge bank, he can afford to lose everything and rebuild. He can't rebuild. His army right now is 3,900 gas. He only has 1,300 in the bank. He is mining 1,500 a minute, so that is not insubstantial. Oh my god. DRG, okay, I'm calling it. DRG's trolling. No. You do not see it. This is DRG saying, I've got this. This nerd. It's such a huge gamble, too. If he just happened, obviously, it's kind of unlikely Dark's going to be able to keep an Overseer alive. But that is like 10 supply and 400 to 500 gas of banelings. But imagine, you know what? What am I doing? I'm casting, alright? Imagine how cool it will be when it kills all the infestors. Or the infestors try to burrow move through it, and they can't because there's like underground collision. Because we all know there are only 3 levels. Alright, there's underground, there's above ground, and then there's in the air. And they're all on exactly the same level as all the other units. And that's how it works. Except for Colossi, which kind of do both at once. But other than that, and then like spine crawlers when they're unburrowed. But other than that, so still no hive. Like DRG keeps coming in. If there's no vipers, there's no reason he really needs to switch out. Like the fungals are very dangerous, but without parasitic bomb, oh my god. +2 melee banes, just one-shotting drones. Yep, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. DRG, like, I mean, he wants it so bad. He's trying to draw the infestors over it. Oh my god, there's just an Overseer. Well, fungal on the Zerglings. Okay, is Dark doing it? Oh, is Dark's army is 142 supply. We're going for a base trade. What madness is... Okay, there should be enough banelings, even with all the fungals. DRG has a 4,200 gas in the bank. Like, the fungals... There's no such thing as enough fungals. But if he gets the tech, like if he literally physically gets the baneling nest and the spawning pool and the spire, or just... Is this an actual full-on base trade? Are there any drones on the map? DRG does not even... Oh my god, never mind. Yeah, okay, alright. Oh, well. Yeah. That was quite... So, Dark is not able to get away with just... not building anti-air. That was kind of a weird... Dark, it felt like Dark was all in, and then he drew it out another 15 minutes almost. Like he got behind economically. And then he just barely acknowledged the mutas existed until they were too big of a problem. And I do think that was the best option. Game 2, by the way, we're on Glittering Ashes. It's a best of 3. DRG, oh, he wanted those Burrow Banes, but unfortunately for all of us, didn't get them. Dark, diligent enough to bring an Overseer, and like Dark so often does, ruins our fun. And then he just taps out of the game because he's way too far behind after the Banelings roll in, so. But he's so good at just can we bring in the Jimmy? Yeah, I mean, like, that efficiency kicking in. But in order to really counter the mutas, I did love the Microbial Shroud use as well. That was something. Well, rarely is it used against mutas because Fungal's a very obvious choice, but Dark was just throwing it all out there, trying to see what was going to stick. Another option that a lot of players will choose upon seeing the mutas like that and being so far behind on the layer is trying for a Nidus. In fact, Dark didn't even attempt that. If he had a bit of a better economy and was in the middle of a half-hearted base trade, maybe Lurkers. It is... I do think, like, once Vipers are out, once Vipers are on the field, like, well and truly, the mutas, everywhere they go is a risk of 30 of them imploding. That's why usually you don't see quite that number, except if someone's all in, or in, like, a muta war or something. Stay hydrated. Remember, as they say, take a drink of water, smash that like button. And check out the stream. No, not the watery kind. The previous match, starting with the classic will they, won't they of Ling Baneling, where both players try to figure out if the other one is actually going to stop going Ling Bane and transition into really anything else. But the real high-level pro-gamer move we found was apparently you just never stop. Right? Like even Dark, up until the mutas were in double digits, he did not stop going Ling Bane. So... well, I get such intense deja vu, because the layout of the natural on this map is so similar to Hardwire. I look at it, and the lava and all that. Maybe I'm just old and don't remember things easily, and Billy needs to update the maps. But... Zerglings, 2 Zerglings, oftentimes beat 1 Zergling, but they only move at the speed of Zerglings, so... and actually, DRG's Lang will have speed done a few seconds quicker and be able to escape. He wants to get into the main to see if a lair is started. He sees no lair. Did you? Is that right? Is that the right spot? I think that's the right. I think the queen can slip through there. Because if not, roaches can't get out. Obviously, lings. So both players taking the triangle base. The one right out in front. Interesting. It appears that that is the... I've seen both, but it appears there's a consensus that taking that front base is the better option. Alright, couple Banelings. Spotted by the Overlord. Oh, what a hit. DRG opens things up. Clears out all the lings. Makes it very easy to zone out the rest of the Banes. Dark is already droning behind this. This is... well, Dark has enough on the field to be dangerous. But neither player wanting to engage in the explosive gamble of early game Ling Bane this time around. Well, They are on the way for both sides. Dark actually building 2 spine crawlers, despite being down 6 drones. Now, of course, they don't know the opponent's drone count. You gotta kind of figure that one out for yourself. But I think he's misreading this pretty hard here. He does not need... He saw a few roaches, I guess, on the way across, but he can easily block those on his own. Playing it safe with the spines. I do think, especially in the DVZ, spines are a bit underutilized. They are the worst static defense option from an economic standpoint compared to, well, what Terrans and Protoss have. But at some point, there's no substitute. Another important thing is larva and larva management. And that is probably the most difficult part of Zerg to understand. And really the difference even between like a DRG and a Serral, let alone everyone else in DRG. Larva entirely unique to Zerg. And essentially the entire production revolves around... Are we both going... Are we just... Well, looks like these larvas are going to grow up to be a beautiful flying muta. As this time around, Dark not giving up the skies. In fact, going to have a quicker spire. He also bounced back and has even more drones. Both sides taking a 4th. DRG getting us a little quicker. But Dark is going to have more mutas more quickly. And I believe he had a little more gas banked up as well. Will he go for... Well, Dark did... Oh my god. How close was he? He did not spot the spire. But, like... take a look around. Look at all those gas gases. Look at that lack of roaches. You know it's mutas. Both sides, even if they're not 100% sure, they're 99.999% sure it's mutas. And now Darks are revealed. Sending him directly across the map. Well, besides the ones hunting for Ovies. And whoever gets muta control first, this is your advantage for taking the initiative. You can clear out the Ovies. And while they can send their mutas out and clear out some of the Overlords on their side of the map, it's much more risky. And Dark even not showing where all his mutas are, so that way... Is DRG just... He's far out there. This is going to get messy. Right now, 7... to 13, 14, with more on the way for both sides. We finally get to use that production on the units tab. And yes, they're both still going mutas. The number's pretty far out of hand for Dark at the moment. Important to note, DRG is not building any upgrades. He's feeling like he needs every single mutalisk here. Long term, that's going to put Dark in a significant advantage, as even just the attack upgrades, well, technically the Carapace upgrade is in muta versus muta more effective. It reduces more damage than the +1 attack adds to the fight. There's a over a minute, maybe minute and a half window here on when Dark will have his +1 air up against nothing of DRG. And DRG kind of understanding... Yeah, I'm probably a bit behind on this. He's the one to get the infestation pit. I think Vipers are on the agenda. Maybe infestors, but that's kind of like stopping at the end of the street to take a break before driving home. But the Vipers are the more... are the better, more natural counter to the mutas. They can fly, so they don't get easily sniped by things like Zerglings. Ideally, you have infestors and Vipers. But if push comes to shove and you say, which one do you want? You only get to pick one. It's going to be Vipers, in my opinion. Now, Zerglings for Dark are overrunning the queens on the left flank, buying time to snipe another queen on the right. Dark with 31 to 23 mutas. A Spore Crawler, I think, makes up a lot of that ground if Dark decides to fight under it. Or over it. Yeah, over it. But... +1 attack is done. Dark is allowed to bully DRG now. DRG just essentially muta base trading trying to fight the roaches with his... Okay, the mutas are fighting the roaches. Mutas just taking out this base on this side. Eventually, Dark can bring his mutas back. The roaches heading across the map. DRG just has way less mutas, though. If Dark finds a fight, he's going to win. And the fight gets out of control fast. Because this isn't just one-to-one, like the way the mutaglaves work and how they bounce through enemy units, the battle turns quickly. It can go from like 15 to 13 to like 12 to 0. Especially if there's an upgrade advantage. And there they are. Hail Mary. The Vipers. Parasitic Bomb. 120 damage. Alright, that's how much it does. It doesn't stack, important to note, but it does 120 damage over about 7 seconds. Mutas, alright, they have 120 HP. They do heal, so they won't die on a single parasitic bomb, but it gets damn close to killing them outright. Which means a single parasitic bomb, if not dealt with immediately. Well, this is one way to deal with it. Just jumps on top. Dark has 1-1. He's got 10 more mutas on the way. I have no idea what's happening. It's a mess. He's just slicing spores. Able to get a few shots off. There are Vipers in the main. Spotted here by Zerglings, which is not the ideal for DRG. Ideally, those Vipers show up the moment they cast Parasitic Bomb. But they are revealed, and that means Dark is going to have time and space to... Well, you can't be fighting. You're going to lose. 37-17. I'm not a mathematician, but...
The numbers don't lie! And they spell disaster for you!
DRG. He's just hoping Dark makes a mistake. And to be honest, so far this series, Dark hasn't played perfect. Obviously, he's down 1-0. He's just praying now. Thoughts and prayers for these Vipers. Because if those parasitic bombs don't do terrible, terrible, terrible damage... There's just so many more mutas. One parasitic bomb. They do not do friendly fire. Important to note, that's a lot of damage, though. That's a lot of damage. DRG's mutas are fighting. They're all concentrated. Dark has to spread out. Oh my god, it's a disaster. It worked. I really just didn't expect Dark to... So, he gave him the fight. DRG said 1v1 me, bro. And Dark just brought everything. Did Dark just throw this? He still has way more drones. He has way more economy. He's building corruptors, which are less vulnerable to parasitic bomb. They're more direct counter to the mutas, though they actually aren't that great against mutas. Because one, mutas can fly away, and two, they are much better in high numbers. But, of course, they give some more guaranteed damage and can kind of backstop. Though this leaves Dark with an awkward amount of gas. He's getting an infestation pit now. As obviously infestors or Vipers of his own can make a huge difference. But DRG, he leaned and not to blow air into my own horn. Wow, that sounded way weirder than saying toot my own horn. Which also sounds weird, but like... But not the Vipers, okay? The Vipers are, even if you know they're there, they just kind of invalidate mutas. You just can't fight anymore. You can't fight with the parasitic bomb ticking away at 95% of your mutas HP. It's just not something you can do. And Dark tried. But Dark is bringing his own to the table. He's going for the infestors. He hasn't started a hive. I guess we're determined to make the unit compositions as different as possible in each of these games. And even though they both want mutas, we've diverged. And it's going to be Roach, Viper, Muta for DRG. Against Muta Corruptor Infestor with Hydras for Dark. So, quite a dynamic series, at the very least. Though, we've taken quite a meandering path up the tech tree. Dark is maxed, but DRG is also maxed. Of course, Fungal is incredibly dangerous. The Vipers, I guess they could have ducked the Infestors. Parasitic Bomb on the Corruptors. The Corruptors can just target... Okay, Parasitic Bomb on one of the Mutas. Dark not really microing the Mutas almost at all. Like, half of them are bruised. The Roaches underneath are sniping the Infestors. Now, those Mutas are going to heal pretty quick. A few Roaches on the other side, making things interesting. And DRG's not going to be happy, but he has to come back with his mutalisks and defend. I say he's not going to be happy because he really wanted to strike while the iron was hot. And the iron being hot, aka half the mutas being half dead. They are healing, and it only takes them about a minute to heal back up to full. DRG will lose some of his drones, but his army supply is still a commanding 120, and he's not even close to max. He barely has... Actually, doesn't... Oh my god! Oh my god! Ah! Oh no! That... he walked into it. DRG. Both these players determined to lose as many mutas as possible. 100 mutas. Oh my god. 100 mutas have been lost in the... 100 mutas have been harmed in the making of this game. It's an absolute disaster out here. Okay, so... Where does this leave us? Dark has 12 mutas, he's got 5 hydras, 10 corruptors. DRG is down to 38 drones. So, throughout all this, Dark has once again found himself with infestors on the defense against mutas. Except this time he has the better economy, so he can get all the fixins. It's not DRG burrowing 20 banelings in the middle of the map, no. Instead, DRG has to wait for Dark to make a mistake. Well, it looks like he's just going to keep building units here. He hasn't rebuilt any drones, which means the supply is not going to get much higher. Oh my god, the roaches are just hanging out. The roach hydra going to be great here. Fungals looking real good. Viper, parasitic bomb is everything. And everything is not nearly enough. We do have a victory for Dark. I don't know if I'd call it a throw from DRG. Really, they were just kind of playing catch there a bit with the mutas. Like, oh, who wants to lose their mutas now? Oh, your turn. Ah, those fungals? How sick is that? Conversations like that. Those are totally normal conversations that normal people have, and I know all about sports. I'm a big sports fan. I love the points. I love the goals. I love the likes and subscribes. Game 3 match point. Pride of Altaris. So, ZVZ, even more than any other matchup. These are full golds. Rarely do we have a map with full golds, and we've seen this utilized time and time again. That means 8 mineral patches and 2 gases. Usually gold bases have 6 mineral patches and sometimes 2, sometimes 1 gas. What is the difference? Since gold bases mine 40% faster, 6 mineral patches means with less workers you get the same amount as another base, and there we go. But with 8 patches you just straight up have more income than another base. So you can add, with less workers, you can get more income, but to an even further extent. So it's a huge boost on your economy as opposed to just an efficiency boost. And in ZVZ, just having 3 or 4 less workers, remember we talked about larva. And by we talked, I mean I talked at you, and you're like, oh yeah, I think I remember hearing that in the background. Well, you were on another tab, Winter, but I was totally paying attention to this match. I love ZVZ. I made it to Game 3. Okay, that's how much I love it. And you're calling me out right now, and I feel a little uncomfortable with that. But at the same time, I feel a little accomplished because these deep in the series, 40 minutes in callouts. That means I'm a real fan, Winter. So stop criticizing me for paying close or not so close attention. It's your fault for casting in such a chill manner because you, let me check my notes, cast too much and literally have to take it easy on your voice. So stop criticizing me and start talking about this gold base once again. I want to hear more about the gold base. I haven't heard enough in the last 6 months of the same map. No, Winter. Well, just for you. DRG's taking the gold. 12 drones already. Dark will see it immediately as both players are sending... Usually you send your Overlord to the 3rd. This is so common though. Both players sent their OVs directly to the gold. And a baneling nest to wall. I mean, if you lose this base, you probably lose the game. If you're DRG. You've got so many drones committed here. You might as well do whatever you can to keep it alive. And walling off of the baneling nest, like, at the end of the day, if the baneling nest is vulnerable, the game's probably over. That's the summary. Oh my god. Okay, so Dark is on 2 bases of his own. He's hiding Zerglings. He's getting a Bane nest. This is... Back to the Ling Bane. Alright. Dark, once again, hiding... Now, because DRG sent his OVs out like he didn't see some of these Zerglings come out. He checked for the gold, which means there was a gap in the vision. And he doesn't know there are 2 banelings at his natural, though. I mean, he has a queen on the high ground, so it shouldn't be too big an issue. Banelings morphing. This is very awkward for DRG, who has a way better economy. But his larva and his... Oh, no, that baneling slipped by. Gets some of the Zerglings. Boxing out. Oh, a lot of the drones badly bruised. So DRG can afford to lose a few of these. Few banelings from DRG, more morphing. It's kind of hard to tell whose banes are whose. It's a mess down there. Banelings going their separate ways. Drones splitting. Dark lost a lot of wings. Everyone dies. The summary, everyone died. Okay? Well, Dark was morphing. Oh, no! Oh, I'm... Nope. Is there any gas money at this base? I think DRG is realizing he might... Oh. I should have stuck with my original commentary style of just flailing my voice around like lings and banes exploding into each other. So, Dark just hits him in the face. So this started with Dark getting almost styled on by DRG's mass Zergling baneling. With Mutas, of course. And it ends with DRG punching, or Dark punching DRG in the nose. So, there's a reason they call him the final boss. And I think he showed it again today in this match from Alpha X's King of Battles. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you found this... I thought this was one of the more dramatic and dynamic Zerg versus Zergs. I love to watch 2 players with very different styles in these mirror matchups. So hopefully you enjoyed as well. Any recommendations? Who do you think has more of a difference in style? Terrans and Protoss are allowed on the list, okay? And speaking of list, you can check out some of these and maybe that video as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.